Hello, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well today. I wanted to come on here and read Marjorie Taylor Greene's resignation letter. If you don't know, she just announced that she will be resigning from Congress as of January. And I'd like to read her resignation letter. I have not read it yet. I wanted to come on here and read it with you guys. Because I don't know her personally, but she strikes me as a woman with integrity. I could be wrong. I know, I've been wrong about people before, but I don't know. She strikes me as a woman of integrity, and I really would like to hear it from her own words. I know I've heard a lot of people say she's a traitor and this and that and the other, but, if she's a traitor to politicians. She's not a traitor to me or anyone else. And that's a whole very small world separate from our own. And I'd like to hear it from her point of view. Okay, here we go. I've always represented the common American man and woman as a member of the House of Representatives, which is why I've always been despised in Washington, D.C., and never fit in. Americans are used by the political industrial complex of both political parties, election cycle after election cycle, in order to elect whichever side can convince Americans to hate the other side more. And the results are always the same. No matter which way the political pendulum swings, Republican or Democrat, nothing ever gets better for the common American man or woman. The debt goes higher. Corporate and global interests remain in Washington's sweethearts. American jobs continue to be replaced, whether it's by illegal labor or legal labor by visas or just shipped overseas. Small businesses continue to be swallowed by big corporations. America's hard-earned tax dollars always fund foreign wars, foreign aid, and foreign interests. The spending power of the dollar continues to decline. The average American family can no longer survive on a single breadwinner's income, as both parents must work in order to simply survive. And tough luck to the single parent families. Okay, and today, many in my children's generation feel hopeless for their future and don't think they will ever realize the American dream, which breaks my heart. I ran for Congress in 2020 and have fought every single day, believing that Make America Great Again meant America first. I have one of the most conservative voting records in Congress, defending the First Amendment, Second Amendment, unborn babies, because I believe God creates life at conception. Strong, safe borders. I fought against COVID tyrannical insanity and mandated mass vaccinations, and I've never voted to fund foreign wars. However, with almost 1 year into our majority, the legislature has been mostly sidelined. We endured an 8-week shutdown, wrongly resulting in the House not working for the entire time. And we are entering campaign season, which means all courage leaves and only safe campaign re-election mode is turned on. Wow, so true. It is a definite pattern. Okay, during the longest shutdown in our nation's history, I raged against my own speaker and my own party for refusing to proactively work diligently to pass a plan to save American health care and protect Americans from outrageous, overpriced, and unaffordable health insurance policies. The House should have been in session working every day to fix this disaster, but instead America was force-fed disgusting political drama once again from both sides of the aisle. Very true. So far, I have yet to read a false statement from this woman. So far. My bills, which reflect many of President Trump's executive orders, like calling for a new census counting Americans only, to draw new districts, making English the official language of the U.S., making it a felony to medically trans a minor, and other bills like eliminating capital gains taxes on the sale of your home and eliminating the H-1B visas, just collecting dust. That's how it is for most members of Congress's bills. The Speaker never brings them to the floor for a vote. Many common Americans are no longer easily convinced by paid political propaganda spokespersons and consultants on TV and paid shills on social media, obediently serving with cult-like conviction to force others to swallow the political party talking points. Wow. And there are quite a few of those. I will not name any names. Because they know how much credit card debt they have. They know how much their own bills have gone up over the past 5 years. They actually do their own grocery shopping and know food costs too much. Their rent has increasingly gone up. They have been outbid by corporate asset managers too many times when they put in an offer to buy a house. They have been laid off after being forced to train their visa holding replacement. The college degree they were told to earn only left them in debt. No big 6-figure salary. They see more homeless people than ever on their own community streets. They can't afford health insurance or practically any insurance, and they just aren't stupid. These are the people I represent and love because that is who all of my family and friends are, common Americans. I have been blessed to represent the 14th District of Georgia for 5 years, which is filled with some of the most wonderful, kind-hearted, God-fearing, patriotic, hard-working people you will ever meet. Good, regular, common Americans. I've worked hard to bring taxpayer dollars back home to help district needs. I impeached Biden's Secretary of Homeland after watching my constituents die as he facilitated the dangerous open border invasion into America and led to the effort to defund hard-left politically biased NPR, PBS, and the corrupt USAID as the chair of the DOJ subcommittee. I have fought harder than almost any other elected Republicans to elect Donald Trump and Republicans to power, traveling the country for years, spending millions of my own money, missing precious time with my family that I can never get back, and showing up in places like outside the New York courthouse in Collect Pond Park against a raging left mob as Trump faced Democrat lawfare. Meanwhile, most of the establishment Republicans who secretly hate him and who stabbed him in the back and never defended him against anything have all been welcomed in after the election. Ha! Ha! So true. So true. Like all of them. All of them. I've been saying it this whole time. In the world of the rich, only the kiss asses grow in power. And it don't matter how many times they betrayed the rich person. As long as they start kissing their ass, they're all good. They're all good. It is so true. And Trump is no exception. He's just blind by the kiss ass. He is. He is. And I will never forget the day I had to leave my mother's side as my father had brain surgery to remove cancerous tumors in order to fly to D.C. to defend President Trump and vote no against the Democrats' second impeachment in 2021. My poor father and my poor mother, it was way too much. Oh my God, I'm sure. Through it all, I never changed or went back on my campaign promises and only disagreed in a few areas like my stance against H-1Bs replacing American jobs, AI state moratoriums, debt for life, like 50-year mortgage scams, standing strongly against all involvement in foreign wars, and demanding the release of the Epstein files. Other than that, my voting record has been solidly with my party and the president. Interesting. Loyalty should be a two-way street, and we should be able to vote our conscience and represent our district's interests because our job title is literally representative. America First should mean America first and only Americans first, with no other foreign country ever being attached to America's first in our halls of government. Standing up for American women who were raped at 14, trafficked, and used by rich, powerful men should not result in me being called a traitor and threatened by the President of the United States, whom I fought for. Oh my God, yeah, I'm going to get into that in just a moment. I'm going to get into that because this has been a real problem with me too. However, while yes, hurtful, my heart remains filled with joy. My life is filled with happiness, and my true convictions remain unchanged because my self-worth is not defined by a man, but instead by God, who created everything in existence. You see, I've never valued power, titles, or attention, in spite of all the wrong assumptions about me. I do not cling to those things because they are meaningless and empty traps that hold too many people in Washington. I believe in term limits and do not think Congress should be a lifelong career or an assisted living facility. Good one. Good one. That was a good one. Oh, come on. You know that was funny. That was a good one. Good one, MTG. Assisted living facility. Okay. My only goal and desire has ever been to hold the Republican Party accountable for the promises it makes to the American people and to put American first. I have fought against Democrats, damaging policies like the Green New Deal, wide open, deadly, unsafe border policies, and the trans agenda on children and against women. With that has brought years of nonstop, never-ending personal attacks, death threats, lawfare, ridiculous slander and lies about me that most people could never withstand even for a day. It has been unfair and wrong, not only to me and especially my family, but to my district as well. I have too much self-respect and dignity, love my family way too much, and do not want my sweet district to have to endure hurtful and hateful primary against me by the president we all fought for, only to fight and win my election while Republicans will likely lose the midterms, and in turn be expected to defend the president against impeachment after he hatefully dumped tens of millions of dollars against me and tried to destroy me. It's also absurd and completely unserious. I refuse to be a battered wife, hoping it all goes away and gets better. If I am cast aside by MAGA Inc. and replaced by neocons, big pharma, big tech, military-industrial war complex, foreign leaders, and the elite donor class that can't even relate to real Americans, then many common Americans have been cast aside and replaced as well. There is no plan to save the world or insane 4D chess game being played. When the common American people finally realize and understand that the political industrial complex of both parties is ripping this country apart, that not one elected leader like me is able to stop Washington's machine from gradually destroying our country, and instead the reality is that they, common Americans, the people, possess the real power over Washington, then I'll be here by their side to rebuild it. Until then, I'm going back to the people I love, to live life to the fullest, as I always have, and look forward to a new path ahead. I will be resigning from office, with my last day being January 5th, 2026. Marjorie Taylor Greene. You know, I don't agree with everything Marjorie Taylor Greene agrees with necessarily. I mean, the basic morality, yes, obviously, but one thing I will say for her, she really was a Trump cheerleader. She really was. And all that can be forgiven. But it is kind of hurtful that she's going to leave. I mean, maybe she can't take it. So, like, you can't hold it against her. Maybe, I mean, we don't know what she's been going through, you know, behind the scenes. We only know what she's telling us. So there could be so many more threats. Who knows what they're threatening? They're probably threatening her family, her kids, everything. Because this is how they work. So, you know, I don't hold it against her that she's resigning. It makes me sad, though, because it was like she was one of the very, very few real ones that we had in Congress. And there's not many. Republican or Democrat, they're all awful. They're all evil. I hope we all realize, if we haven't learned anything from this last year, I hope we learned that this has nothing to do with a Republican issue or a Democratic issue. I hope we've all learned that at least by now. That was just one of the many distractions they threw in our face. Because, I think the first red flag when he got into office should have been him pretty much begging Larry Fink from BlackRock to buy up a lot of the Panama Canal. Giving a man who already has so much power globally even more global power. That was a huge red flag. And then, you get into the Epstein circus and all of that. But really, I think, was really the cherry on top was when he pretty much said to Laura Ingraham that no one in America has enough talent to be smart enough to build missiles and stuff like that. Yeah, he literally was admitting he's throwing us all under the bus for his donors, for whoever he's in bed with. He's throwing us all under the bus, selling out his own people. It seems to be a rite of passage for our presidents to sell out their own people to power. Has anybody seen noticed the chemtrails haven't slowed down or stopped? All this stuff, all these promises that he has made. I mean, he's kept a few of them. I know he's dramatically saying, they're trying to distract from the victories of this campaign. What victory have you accomplished? Okay, you secure the border, I'm not trying to undermine that. That is a great victory. Lots of children were being brought over the border. So yes, great thing. But what about the missing children already here? What have we done to find them? What have we done to find them? Have any of these deep state people actually lost power or been held to account? Have they? Any of them? Other than maybe a public humiliation, that's about all. That's about all we've seen. And I have yet to hear one thing that this woman has talked about that even goes against anything that Trump's talked about in the past. I have yet to see it. So what's the problem? What is the problem here? Because Trump, it's not just Marjorie Taylor Greene who's noticed the compromised state of your being right now. She's not the only one who's noticed that. Who was once one of your avid cheerleaders. And the difference between them and the people that you have, they actually have morals and integrity. People like Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham, they never wanted, they don't like you. They don't like you. You're the one in power now. They're sucking up to the teat now. If the election went the other way, where do you think they'd be right now? What do you think they'd be saying right now? While they watch you get carried to jail. Because I think that's what we all knew was coming if he lost. And what's kind of sad to me is if that it did go, let's pretend for a minute it did go the other way. Let's pretend Kamala won. And then we were watching Trump being carried off to jail. What I find very sad is the only ones who would probably be defending him would be this woman, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens. They'd probably be the only ones defending him. But look at it. Look at it now. It didn't turn out that way. And he's just turning his back on all of them. Not only turning his back on them, but going on the offensive even. It's crazy. I mean, he's showing us who he is. They all are. They're all showing us who they are. And we never had to put up with it. We always had the power from the beginning. I mean, come on. The elite cabal has so much power because we've let them believe they do. But we outnumber them like thousands to one. Think about that. We've allowed ourselves to believe that they're more powerful than us. It's been the biggest lie. And I hope people are waking up from it because they've never truly been in control. It's always just been the illusion. We've had the power and we've been in the illusion that we weren't. We need to break out of these illusions for real, quickly, for all of our sake. Because there's nothing more dangerous than desperate people. There's nothing more dangerous than that. And I have a feeling why the deep state, the cabal are getting so sloppy and hiding their shindigs and activities. It's because they're desperate. They're getting desperate. They're getting dangerous. So, now's not the time to back down. If anything, now's the time to go hard, harder than we've ever gone. But anyways, hope you all have a good day.